Good morning. How are you all today? Thank you for visiting with us. And also, we're eager to bless you all and ask for your prayers, and you're in our prayers. And so, welcome to Bible study with Andre and Betty. We're continuing our studies from the book of Genesis, and we're in chapter 26. We'll be focusing on the subject, God passes his covenant from Abraham to Isaac. And in this chapter, we'll also see Isaac repeat the story that his father Abraham had done with regarding their wives. And God's covenant to Abraham and Isaac in the book of Genesis will pass to Jacob. So the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is our God, who is Jesus presented in his natural, being a natural man, our spiritual man, and also the Son of God. And so looking at Genesis chapter 26, verse 1, and there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. Verse 2, and the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. So don't do as Abraham did, went to Egypt. You stay where you go where I tell you to go. So verse 3, sojourn in this land, the land where he was in Gerar. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee. And here goes the covenant, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Verse 4, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, which would be a spiritual seed, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, that's a natural seed, and an earthly people. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. And that seed is Jesus Christ, as I've said before in Galatians 3:16, identifies Isaac's seed as being Christ himself. Verse 5, back to Genesis 26, verse 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, I'm passing it on, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Even though the law had not been given, yet God always has for us a charge, a commandment, statutes which govern religious life, and laws that control governmental things and local ordinances and statutes. Now here's where Isaac will lapse into the same behavior as his father, Abraham. Verse 6, and Isaac dwelt in Gerar, that's Philistine country. Verse 7, And the men of the place asked him of his wife. And he said, "She is my sister." For he feared to say, "She is my wife," lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. She was a beautiful woman. So he's protecting himself by saying that his wife is his sister. Verse 8. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. He was caressing her. However, he was showing affection as a husband to the wife. That's what Abimelech saw. Verse 9, and Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, of a surety, she is thy wife, for sure she is thy wife. And how saidest thou, she is my sister?" Why did you say she's your sister? And Isaac said unto him, "Because I said, lest I die for her. I don't want to present her as my wife because she's beautiful, and the men will kill me for her." Verse 10. And Abimelech said, "What is this thou hast done unto us? Not just to me, but unto us. One of the people might lightly or carelessly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us." Verse 11. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he gave an order, "He that touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." So God intervenes with Abimelech and charges him to tell his people not to touch Isaac or Rebekah. Verse 12. Then after this happened, then Isaac sowed in that land, in the land of Gerar, and received in the same year an hundredfold, and the Lord blessed him. So even though there was a famine in the land, when Isaac sowed, then he gained 100 times more, 100 to 1, for how his crop multiplied. Verse 3. And the man waxed great, that is Isaac, he became great and went forward and grew until he became very great. Verse 14. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and great store of servants. He had many servants, and the Philistines envied him. And so he's in Philistine country. And then as he grew great, then the Philistines could see how God was blessing him, and they attempted to make the same blessing be upon them by verse 15. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham, his father, the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. So their jealousy, their envy, tried to interrupt God's plan for our redemption, and therefore fill the wells up with dirt. Verse 16. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, "Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. So you're much mightier than we are, so we need you to leave. In verse 17, and Isaac departed, he left there and pitched or set up his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. So he left the city and dwelt in the valley of Gerar, verse 18. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. So he opened the wells back up. And he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. Verse 19. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. So this is Isaac's attempt to be a well digger as his father was. And wells represent fruitfulness and the blessing of God, as in the woman in John chapter 4, who came to the well, and God told her to drink, if she would drink of the water that he would give her, that her life would become a well of water springing up into everlasting life. And so verse 20 says, and the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen. So they're fighting against them again, saying, these men were saying to Isaac's servants, the water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. There was a fight between them. And Esek means contention. They contended for this well. Verse 21. And they digged another well and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah, which means hatred. And the Philistines' hatred toward Israel has always been fierce. Verse 22. And he moved from there. Isaac left there and digged another well. And for that they strove not. They did not contend for this well. And he called the name of it Rehoboth, which means enlargement or fruitfulness. And he said, for now the Lord had made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And so now God has blessed them with this land. And verse 23 says, and he went up from there, thence to Beersheba. And Beersheba means well of the oath. Verse 24, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night and said, reaffirming his covenant, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake, for the covenant that I made with Abraham, that he believed God, and it was counted to him for righteousness. The same blessing I bestow upon you. In verse 25, and he, Isaac, built an altar there, that is at Beersheba, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants digged a well. They digged a well in where he was living at that time. Verse 26, then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Husath, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, wherefore come ye to me, saying ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? Verse 28. And they said, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee. And the covenant is, verse 29, that you will not do us hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. So they wanted to make a peace treaty between them. And verse 8, and he made them a feast. Isaac made them a feast, and they did eat and drink, confirming that he would not do them harm, and they would not do him harm. Verse 32, and it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, we have found water. Verse 33, and he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Beersheba is the southernmost boundary in Canaan land. And Dan, on the east side of the river Jordan, is stated from Dan to Beersheba, which means from north unto south. And this is where Judah becomes the southernmost boundary in Canaan land. And he called it Sheba. Therefore, not only the well, but the city is called Beersheba unto this day. Verse 34. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Verse 35, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and to Rebekah. These are Canaanite women, and it grieved Isaac and Rebekah that Esau had taken Canaanite women to be his wives. And this is when next time they'll tell Jacob not to marry, but to go back to the homeland to get a wife. And so these are the the historical records that there were people that God communed with and gave them orders on how to live in the land. Even though Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob are only sojourners in the Canaan land, the entire land is called the land of milk and honey. And that's where Israel ended up under the leadership of Joshua after Moses had died. And so these are historical records that people try to rewrite, but the Word of God is what it is, and He confirms His Word by other scriptures relating to the same event. So you all have a great day and a great week, And we'll see you next time.